Hi everybody, and hi from the flying baby in the background. He's playing with daddy at the moment. So today I'm not bringing you a vlog as we didn't have a very good night last night, and so I was just too tired to do anything today. So it would have been like the most boring vlog in the world. And that tickles. So today I'm going to do the controversial parenting tag because I seem to be the only person left in the world to do this tag. Please don't get offended by my answers, they are just my thoughts, my opinions. I don't mean anything bad by them. Let's just get on. My throat is dying doing this. So first off, we have pro-life versus pro-choice. So basically, abortion. I really go back and forth on this one. Some days I'm just thinking about, like, you know, just ending the life of such potential, like this baby could go on to cure cancer, save the world, create world peace, and you'll never know. But then other days I'm like, well, it's your body, it's your baby, it's your choice. So, like, who cares what other people say? Just do what you think is right. So I think on the whole I'm probably pro-choice for everybody else, but pro-life when it comes to me. And next we have baby wearing. And I have to say, hats off to anybody who can do this. I've tried a few times and I just can't get on with it at all. I don't know if it's just because Magnus is such a big baby, but I've tried a few times, and my only time I do walking more than about 5 minutes, just everything hurts. I get hot and sweaty and I feel like I'm going to die, which is not a feeling I want to get whilst going out with my child. So I don't do it, but again, kudos to anybody who does. Next we have circumcision. And yeah, I'm pretty against this. Like, unless it's for medical reasons, I really see no reason to. Like, if you're a grown-up and you suddenly decide, you know what, I don't want this anymore, then fair enough. You know, you're an adult, you were able to make an informed decision on the subject, that's fine. A baby, on the other hand, has no such concept. Like, they've only just got it. They don't know what it does. They don't know if they want to keep it or not. So let them decide when they are old enough. I don't even agree with it for religious reasons, because I just think if there is a God and he was against foreskins, then why would he give you one in the first place? Next we have adoption. And I have to say, I think adoption needs to be explored and talked about a hell of a lot more than it is now. Like, maybe there would be less call for abortion if adoption was more considered. Like, some people just seem to think that if you give up your baby, then you're just selfish, you're lazy, you're a terrible person. But, like, sometimes you're not in the right time, the right place for a baby. You won't be able to look after it, you won't be able to give it the life it deserves. So instead, you can give it to somebody who has the ability to give it such great life, but isn't able to have a child themselves. Like, I think that adoption is such an amazing thing. I really do. And next we have baby piercing. Yeah, I'm definitely against this one too. I see absolutely no reason to put holes in your baby's ears or anywhere else for superficial reasons. Like, I don't think babies look cute with it. They haven't been able to decide that they want it, and I think it's one of those things you have to be able to make the decision whether you want them or not. I had my ears pierced when I was 10. So I was old enough to make a pretty informed decision about it, and I was able to look after them, like keep my ears clean. I still managed to get a reaction to it, which you know, it's hard enough for a 10-year-old, but if that happened to a baby, like, yeah, that wouldn't have been good at all. It really hurt when I was getting my ears pierced, but I was able to understand what was being done. Like, to a baby, just having somebody either stick a needle in your ear or shoot it with a gun, you have no concept of going on. All that happens is, oh dear God, that hurts. It must be so scary for them. And again, like, they're not able to make the choice. They're babies. Next we have breast milk versus formula. And you know what? As long as a baby is fed, happy and healthy, I could not care less whether they're breastfed or formula fed. I breastfed for the first 3 weeks of Magnus's life, but he was too hungry for my boobs basically, so I had to give that one up. But I've also had friends and family who've breastfed for their first year of their child's life at least. I have friends and family who have formula fed from the start, and there are far more important things in life to get fussed about. Next up we have spanking, and I do not agree with this at all. I was spanked as a child, and it made me act out even more than I originally was, and it made me grow up kind of resenting my dad a bit for it. Like, me and him have quite a good relationship, but there is kind of always that bit of hesitation because of the spanking. And I just always think, like, some people just get so worked up over the smallest things with their child, and like, you wouldn't hit a grown-up for these things, so why would you hit a child for them? You're better off sitting down with your child and having a serious discussion about what they did wrong and why it's a bad thing. Because also, like, if you just smack them every time they do something wrong, they're not going to know why it's wrong, and I think it's so important for them to know why. Next we have co-sleeping, and you know what, if we hadn't had co-sleeping, I don't even know what we would have done this time. I did not sleep for the first, I think, at least 72 hours of Magnus's life, because they wouldn't allow co-sleeping in the hospital. Then we were still a bit hesitant about doing it, so we would like take it in turns staying up with him, because he would not go to sleep in his own bed. Like, he would have to sleep on one of us. So in the end we were both just like, you know what, I can't take this anymore. Neither of us has slept since he was born. We have to do something about it. And so we became co-sleepers. We are starting to come out of it a bit now. Like, he will usually go to sleep in his own bed, and sometimes he'll even stay there. But yeah, we would not have survived that first couple of months if it hadn't been for co-sleeping. I think as long as all the guidelines are followed and you do it safely and happily, then I don't see a problem with it. Next we have homeschooling, and this is another one I'm a bit iffy at. Like, I don't know, I can't imagine being clever enough in all subjects to be able to teach my child properly about everything, and I don't know as many children as they know in school. I can't introduce him to like 60, 90 children who he will then see every single day. Like, that's just not doable. So I think school is pretty important. And next, my favourite, vaccinations. I honestly do not understand why anybody would not vaccinate their child. I really don't. I know sometimes there can be severe allergic reactions, but that is such a rare occurrence. Like, I can't even remember the statistics, but they are so low. But the chances of your baby contracting one of these diseases that we vaccinate against is so much higher, and your baby can die for them. There's a reason that we vaccinate against them. And I think most of the reasons that to not do it are just such rubbish. A lot of them were brought about by Andrew Wakefield, who got his license revoked for spreading all this propaganda about vaccinations when it's not even true. They don't use live forms of vaccination. They don't cause autism. The main reason that people think that they cause autism is because the MMR vaccine is usually given about 3, their last dose of it, which is about the time that symptoms for autism tend to start presenting themselves. So I don't even want Magnus hanging around with children that haven't had their vaccines. If we all decided, you know what, I won't get little Fred vaccinated because all these other people have had their vaccinations, the human race would just die out. Next we have medicating, and I don't really get this one. If your baby's ill, why would you not give them medicine? Is that even a thing? I don't know. I'm just going to leave this one as it is because I don't understand it. Next we have cloth versus disposable nappies, and I am very, very pro disposables. You chuck them on when they're wet, dirty, you whip them off and shove them in the bin and they're forgotten about. I can't deal with the thought of not only cleaning the poo off of him, but then scraping it off of his nappy and then washing that when you've already got 10 million piles of washing that need to be done anyway. Say we average about 5 nappies at least a day. That's 100 nappies a week on top of all your regular washing that needs to be done. I haven't got time for that. And finally we have crying it out, and you'll never guess what, I'm against this too. We are pretty baby led in this family. He has his food when he wants, he goes to bed when he wants. If he's not happy in his bed, he can come into ours. He's only 5 months. He's such a small person to just leave crying on his own. And if he starts crying, that makes me want to cry. So if I just left him to... Is that right? If I just left him to cry, then I would just be a huddled mess in the corner. I would not be able to handle it at all. There's a reason babies cry, and that's to communicate their needs to us. So by leaving them to cry it out, you're basically ignoring their needs. Fair enough just leaving them if they're having a little bit of a grizzle, which will probably die out, and then if it doesn't die out, then going to them when it escalates into full-on crying. I would do that, but just leaving them to actually cry, no. And so that is it. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you didn't get too offended by anything I said, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye!